about a moment when someone's small act of kindness changed your entire day. Maybe it was a simple smile from a stranger, a teacher's encouraging words when you needed them most, or a friend who checked in on you at just the right time. What if I told you that these small actions don't just affect us in the moment, but ripple out, influencing people far beyond what we can see? Welcome back to the Cycle of Care podcast. This is episode 3. I'm your host, Mona Zignago, and today we're going to extend one idea we touched on in episode 1 and delve deeper into how our actions, especially our caring actions, ripple out and affect whole groups of people, often without us ever knowing it. Today, we are going to explore content from the science behind ripple effects, give you an activity to help you reflect on your own ripple effect, and share our Cycle of Care superhero. It comes down to this. We are always creating ripples. The question is, what kind of ripples are we creating? And what is our impact on the world? Have you ever thought about how far your actions travel? Lately, I have been doing a lot of thinking about this. How one small moment, one decision, one interaction ripples out to affect one or a dozen or even hundreds of people. We know from research that this isn't just something in my head. It's actually happening out in the world all the time. We are constantly influencing others in ways we do see and also in ways we will never fully see. Research says that when we understand ripple effects, we can become more intentional and more metacognitive about the impact we have on our world. Just so we're all on the same page, metacognition is the ability to think about our own thinking. It encompasses an awareness of how we learn, make decisions, and respond to situations. In this context, it refers to thinking about and being deeply aware of how our actions ripple out into the world. I also want to acknowledge that I am not perfect. Unfortunately, sometimes I don't have the ripple effect I want to have. I make mistakes, or I say and do things that I think will be helpful, kind, or supportive, and then they backfire and end up not to be. But thankfully, perfection isn't the goal. Good intentions are. What matters most when practicing metacognition and observing our ripple effect is having the drive and desire to notice how our actions impact others. It's about making a daily, moment-by-moment effort to put care into the world in the best way we can. So today, we're going to dive into the science behind the ripple effect. How our emotions, words, and actions don't just stop with us. They spread through relationships, through classrooms, through workplaces, and through entire communities. Let's start by talking about something called emotional contagion. Think about the last time you were in a room where someone was radiating joy. Maybe they walked in with a big smile, full of energy, and within minutes, everyone around them started to feel a little lighter, a little more positive. That's not an accident. That's emotional contagion. The way our emotions spread from person to person like ripples in a pond, or norovirus in a kindergarten classroom. Ha! All right, I'll get back on track. A study from Harvard and University of California, San Diego found that if one person becomes happier, their friend is 25% more likely to feel happier too. And it doesn't stop there. That friend's friend has a 10% higher chance of feeling happier, even if they never met the original person who started the ripple. That means your mood today, right now, could be affecting someone you've never even met. Now let's flip that. The same is true for stress, frustration, or negativity. When we bring impatience or irritation into a space, it spreads just as easily. That's why leaders, teachers, and caregivers, anyone in a position of influence, carries such a huge responsibility. The way we show up in a room matters, because whether we realize it or not, we are setting the emotional tone for the people around us. This is why I often say, We are all leaders. So why does this happen? Why do we pick up on other people's emotions so naturally? It all comes down to something called mirror neurons. These are special cells in our brain that activate, not just when we do something, but when we watch someone else do it. If you see someone smile, your brain actually lights up as if you yourself are smiling. If you see someone yawn, your body might yawn in response. And if you watch someone display kindness, offering a helping hand, showing patience, offering a genuine moment of care, your brain absorbs that as a learned behavior, reinforcing the pattern and increasing the likelihood that you'll replicate it in similar situations. Let's break the concept of learned behavior down. Your brain is constantly learning from the world around you, even when you don't realize it. When you witness an act of kindness, let's say you see someone hold the door open for another person, or you notice a stranger step in to help someone struggling, your brain fires up what are called mirror neurons. These neurons don't just help us observe behavior, they actually simulate the action in our own minds. It's like a mental rehearsal. Your brain is essentially preparing you to act in the same way when a similar situation arises. Neuroscientists first discovered mirror neurons in the 1990s while studying primates, and later research confirmed that humans have them too. These neurons are what allow us to instinctively mirror a smile, yawn when someone else yawns, or more importantly, when it comes to care, absorb and replicate social behaviors like kindness and empathy. This means that simply witnessing care in action makes you more likely to repeat it when the opportunity arises. And here's the key. When you see care being positively received, that experience gets stored in your memory as a rewarding, beneficial behavior. Your brain logs it, and the next time you find yourself in a similar situation, you are more likely to naturally repeat that behavior without even thinking about it. It becomes a learned pattern, shaping how you interact with the world. This idea is backed by decades of research in social learning theory, which was researched heavily by Bandura. Social learning theory tells us we don't just learn by being taught, we also learn by watching, absorbing, and imitating others. This is why environments that prioritize care and kindness create a powerful ripple effect. The more care is modeled, the more it spreads. When a teacher in a classroom greets their students warmly and listens attentively, those students can begin to unconsciously mirror that behavior and could start treating their classmates with more patience, listen more openly, and potentially engage with more empathy. And that energy doesn't just stay in the classroom, it follows them home, influencing how they interact with their families, their siblings, and their communities. But the reverse is also true. If impatience, dismissiveness, or negativity are the dominant behaviors in a space, the brain picks up on those cues just as easily. Studies on emotional contagion show that emotions, both positive and negative, spread through social networks up to 3 degrees of separation. This means that how you treat someone today could influence a stranger 3 people removed from you without you ever knowing it. That's how powerful our actions are. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. Not only do we imitate care and kindness, we feel good when we practice it. There's a concept out there called the helper's high, which explains why acts of kindness release oxytocin, serotonin, and dopamine. These are all chemicals that boost mood and reduce stress. This is why volunteering, mentoring, or even small daily acts of care don't just benefit the receiver, they also make the giver happier and healthier. It creates a positive feedback loop where care leads to more care and so supports the cycle of care. Helper's high actually changes the brain of the person offering it. It's a real phenomenon that is backed by science. When we do something kind for someone else, as I mentioned earlier, our brain releases 3 powerful chemicals: oxytocin, serotonin, and dopamine. Oxytocin is a bonding hormone. It makes us feel connected. Serotonin boosts our mood and reduces stress. And dopamine gives us that feel-good rush that makes kindness quite literally addictive. This is why people who engage in acts of care like volunteers, mentors, community leaders often report higher levels of happiness and even longer lifespans. It turns out we are wired to give. Our brains reward us for kindness, making us want to keep doing it. And the more we give, the more others around us feel inclined to do the same. Let's bring this to life with a real-world example. I know some amazing principals who start every morning by standing at the school entrance, greeting teachers by name, asking how the teachers are doing. This could potentially allow those teachers to walk into their classrooms feeling seen, feeling valued. In turn, they could potentially start their lessons with more patience, more warmth. Then, there is the potential for students to pick up on that energy. Maybe they feel safer, more motivated. They go home, and maybe they're a little kinder to their siblings, a little more engaged with their families. Their parents notice the shift and bring a little more care into their homes. And suddenly, one principal's daily greeting has rippled out into homes, into families, into an entire community. That's the power of the ripple effect. And the most incredible part? The principal might never know. Just like you might never know how your words, your actions, your presence today might change the course of someone else's life, but it's happening. Whether we see it or not, we are creating ripples every single day. So the question becomes, what kind of ripples are we setting in motion? Are we reinforcing cycles of stress, frustration, and disconnection? Or are we fueling cycles of care, patience, and kindness? Because every interaction, no matter how small, is an opportunity to send positive ripples out into the world for the better. And like I've mentioned, science tells us this is real. Researchers have found that kindness and generosity don't just stop with one person. They increase the likelihood that others will pass it on, creating a chain reaction. When you show care today, you might be setting off a series of events that changes someone's life years from now. You might never know how far your ripple reaches, but trust me, we know it reaches. And again, this isn't just a nice idea. It's backed by science. It's how human connection works. And it all starts with us. That means every time we show up with care, with patience, with kindness, we are quite literally supporting the people around us to do the same. And the more we see it, the more we model it. It's a cycle of care. And that's why one single moment of care can multiply in ways we never expect. Let's bring this to life with another personal example. Recently, I had a student I taught years ago reach out to me. This student mentioned how much she had enjoyed being in my classes, and she was just wondering how I was doing. Her action of reaching out positively impacted me in deeply profound ways. Not only did I get to reconnect with an amazing person, but I also saw how well she was doing, how she was thriving, and what a positive impact she is having on the world. I went into my day totally recharged and re-energized. Her simple act of reaching out to me rippled out in positive ways she may not have imagined. So here is the challenge. Are we being intentional with our ripples? Are we aware of the energy we bring into a space? Are we choosing care, even in the smallest moments? Metacognition, which is thinking about how we think and act, allows us to move from unconscious reactions to intentional influence. Instead of simply reacting to the world around us, we can pause and ask ourselves, what kind of impact do I want to leave behind today? Because whether we like it or not, we are always influencing. We are always sending out ripples. Again, the question is, what kind of ripples do we want to create? So here's the challenge. Becoming aware of the ripples we create and realizing that every interaction, no matter how small, is shaping the emotional climate around us. Metacognition, thinking about how we think and act, can help us to be more intentional. Instead of reacting on autopilot, we can pause and ask, what kind of impact am I creating? What ripple effect do I want to leave behind? As we go through our day, we can choose to shift from being passive participants in the world to active shapers of care around us, because every action matters. Every word matters. And the best part, the ripples of care don't just help others, they come back to us too, as you saw with my student reaching out to me. Now it's time for our cycle of care activity. Today, we are going to reflect on these two questions. Who has sent a ripple of care to me? When have I sent a ripple of care from me? If we're not paying attention, we might assume our actions don't matter. But when we reflect metacognitively, we start to see, one way or the other, our actions ripple out into the world and make a difference. Here are the questions again. Who has sent a ripple of care to me? When have I sent a ripple of care from me? To help us remember these questions as we go into our day, we can think who and when. Who has sent a ripple of care to me? When have I sent a ripple of care from me? This week, I invite you to start a ripple journal. Each night, join me. Take just a couple short minutes to write down the answers to the who and when reflection questions. Who has sent a ripple of care to me? When have I sent a ripple of care from me? It could be a caring conversation, a moment of patience, or even just listening with full attention. Ask yourself each day, who has sent a ripple of care to me? When have I sent a ripple of care from me? At the end of the week, look back. What patterns do you notice? How did being intentional about noticing your and others' caring ripples change the way you moved through the world? The more we acknowledge our impact, the more we strengthen our ability to create meaningful ripples intentionally, not just accidentally. Now, it is time for our Cycle of Care superhero. Today I'm highlighting someone who embodies the cycle of care, someone whose work has created ripples that continue to spread, shaping students, schools, and entire communities. Our Cycle of Care hero for this episode is Dr. James Comer. Dr. Comer is a child psychiatrist, professor at Yale University, and the creator of the Comer School Development Program, a groundbreaking initiative that reshaped how schools support students' social and emotional well-being. His work emphasizes a simple yet powerful truth. Care is foundational to learning. When students feel emotionally safe, supported, and valued, they thrive, not just academically, but as whole human beings. In the 1960s, Dr. Comer introduced the School Development Program, which focused on fostering strong relationships between educators, students, and families. At the time, many schools, especially in low-income communities, approached education with a rigid, discipline-heavy mindset. Comer's model flipped that thinking on its head, arguing that schools must first prioritize relationships, emotional development, and community engagement to unlock students' potential. And the results were amazing. Schools that implemented Comer's model saw higher academic performance, better student behavior, and stronger school climates. It proved that a culture of care creates ripples that extend far beyond individual students. It transforms entire schools, strengthens families, and uplifts communities. And as you might imagine, there is science backing up his approach. Dr. Comer's work is supported by research on the connection between social-emotional development and academic success. Studies show that when students feel a sense of belonging and emotional security in a school, their cortisol levels, which are their stress hormones, decrease, allowing them to focus and engage more deeply in learning. In contrast, schools that lack emotional support often see higher dropout rates, increased behavioral issues, and lower academic achievement. This aligns directly with what we've discussed today. The ripple effect of care. When educators, leaders, and parents model care and emotional support, it doesn't just impact students in the moment, it teaches them how to navigate relationships, how to regulate their emotions, and how to become caring individuals themselves. And as they grow, they carry those lessons into the world, shaping future generations. Dr. Comer's influence is still felt today. His work laid the foundation for what we now call social-emotional learning, a movement that has been embraced by schools nationwide. His legacy is a testament to the idea that education is not just about filling minds with information. It's about nurturing hearts, fostering resilience, and creating conditions where care becomes a way of life. He once said, "No significant learning occurs without a significant relationship," and that is the heart of the cycle of care. We are all leaders in some way, no matter what our profession. When we prioritize care in our daily interactions, We set off ripples that shape lives, just as Dr. Comer did. So, as we wrap up today's Cycle of Care superhero, I invite you to think about this. How can you create a Comer-like ripple in your own environment? What small actions can you take today to make someone feel seen, heard, and supported? Because just like Dr. Comer's work has shaped generations of students, your care, no matter how small, has the power to transform the world around you. This week, I invite you to start noticing the ripples around you. Together, we can pay attention to how small actions shift the emotional climate of a room. Actions you can engage in are starting a ripple journal. Each night, write down the who and when of that day. Who has sent a ripple of care to me? When have I sent a ripple of care from me? Simply put, ripple of care to me, ripple of care from me. At the end of the week, reflect. What patterns do you see? How did being intentional about care change the way you moved through your day? I'd love to hear what you discover. You can connect with me on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, or at my website, monazignego.com. And if this episode resonated with you, share it with someone you care about, because that too is a ripple. Thank you for joining me on the Cycle of Care podcast. Again, if today's episode resonated with you, share it with someone who might need this message. And don't forget to start your ripple journal this week. I'd love to hear what you discover. Until next time, let's keep creating ripples of care together, because you never know who they'll reach and the impact they'll have. And what we do know is that the world needs more care. Until next time, this is the Cycle of Care podcast, and I'm your host, Mona Zignego.